Good morning, patriots and freedom-loving Americans. Welcome back to the finish line. You might have seen Trump's latest Truth Social this morning. He declared victory in the war. Again, it's not true. If you've noticed, he likes to declare declare victory in the morning, like right before the markets open, so that the Dow does really good, because that's all we care about, right? But yeah, so something did happen last night that was pretty significant. Yesterday we talked about how Trump was saying if they don't open the Strait of Hormuz, he's going to destroy their entire civilization. Yeah. And we talked about that being bad. Of course, he didn't do that. And because Iran, or you could say Trump came to the table, there's two ways you can go about this, because some people are saying that Iran is offering to open the Strait now, so Trump won on this thing, but also Iran has a 10-point plan to open the Strait permanently. The U.S. has to meet these 10 points here. So there's a 2-week ceasefire. They're agreeing to come to the table, and the Strait will be open for these 2 weeks. But after that point, here are Iran's 10 key demands. Permanent non-aggression guarantee. The U.S. must promise to never attack Iran again. Full sanctions relief. We have to end all U.S. and all international sanctions on Iran. So every country has to end their sanctions. Return billions in overseas Iranian funds. We have to unfreeze all their assets. Number 4, we have to withdraw all of our forces from the Middle East. Number 5, we have to accept their right to enrich uranium and accept their nuclear program. Number 6, we have to cancel or lift international nuclear restrictions and resolutions from the UN or the IAEA. We have to give them complete control, authority over the Strait. They're going to open it, but they have to own it, basically. Right. Number 8, compensation for war damage. The U.S. has to pay reparations for the conflict, what we damaged. 9, end to attacks on Iran and its allies. Stop military actions against Iran and groups aligned with it. So that would be even the terrorist groups, Hezbollah. Number 10, formal international agreement, a binding UN Security Council resolution to lock in the deal. Does this sound like victory to you, Mason?
Actually, no. None of these points sound good at all. From the whole reason we started this war, you can't enrich uranium. Now they're like, let us enrich uranium. That's
build our nuclear program back after all of this work that we've done to destroy it.
And then, how about you fix what you've destroyed? Pay for all the buildings, everything we bombed. That's terrible.
Yeah.
I don't
know. This is, Trump said this is a workable basis to negotiate. I agree with most of these points just because I'm a non-interventionist and I'm like, I don't really care what Iran does. I think we should pull out of the Middle East. I don't want to pay them back for everything, obviously. That's ridiculous. But most of these points I agree with just from my ideological standpoint. But if Trump does this goes literally against everything that he's been saying for like the past 9 months. And it would be a complete and total humiliation. Literally the only thing we'd get out of that was opening the Strait, which was open before the war.
Right.
So the war would just be a complete
loss.
Yes, in every single way.
I'm assuming he just said this is a win because they're at least, giving us a plan and,
Right.
Even though it's bad, they're at least taking the actions to try to end this war.
Right.
But
we didn't get a total and complete victory.
No, I would say total and complete loss at this point. But
and then he came back and said it was fraud, the part about the nuclear agreement. So, yeah, he's kind of, jumping back and forth. We won. They're terrible. We're going to destroy them.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Yeah.
I don't know. But how do you think this war is going to end, Mason?
I hope it doesn't end this way. I'm hoping that we do just back out, but I think we need to have the Strait of Hormuz open.
Right.
I think we shouldn't have to pay them at all. I think even if they are allowed to enrich our uranium, as long as we don't have to pay them for any of this stuff, as long as we're out of it, like free, pretty much.
Right.
I think.
Right. I think that we should come to the table. I think we should withdraw.
Go? you hear it?
No, sorry.
Oh, it is going. It's like...
Okay, pause it and start again because I don't want to edit that much. I think we should take all of our sanctions off, release frozen assets. I think we should withdraw from the Middle East. I agree with those points. I think if we want this to be any sense of victory and not just lose another war, I think that the IAEA should still inspect, make sure that Iran isn't building a nuclear weapon, because that was the point of this entire thing. And I think that we should go back to kind of how the Iran nuclear deal was in 2015. A lot of conservatives hate the Iran nuclear deal, but I don't think we're ever going to achieve permanent peace in that region. They're not going to stop funding terrorists unless we launch like a full-on Middle East Armageddon. So I think that would be a good table for negotiations. Take off the sanctions, release the frozen assets, pull out of the Middle East, but keep the UN and IAEA inspecting to see if they make nuclear weapons, in turn for the Strait being open. I think that could be a reasonable win for the American people. What do you think?
I think that's a good idea. I wasn't really thinking about winning the war. I was just thinking about getting out of this sooner than later.
Right.
Not another drawn on forever war.
Right.
It's just retarded.
I think Iran might come to the table on those points, though.
I think so.
It's possible.
Especially if we keep bombing them like we are.
Yeah.
I think eventually they're going to say, okay, we can't take it anymore.
Right,
This
right.
is insane.
Yeah, like I don't even want to be here in the first place, but I recognize now, like, if Trump pulls out without any wins, then that's going to look really bad for us.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to think, like, how could he still get some wins but not make this thing go on forever?
Right.
Because I think what Trump really wants, and the reason he pulled out of the nuclear deal in 2018 was because we knew if they were building a nuclear weapon, but they were still funding terrorist groups that were going into Israel and killing people.
Yeah.
Hezbollah is one of the big ones. So I think he really wants to be the president that stopped their terrorist aggression, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Those countries are breeding grounds for terrorists.
Right.
And I think that if we, pulled out of the region completely, the terrorists would have no interest in the United States. They obviously just really hate Israel and anyone that's associated with Israel.
Right. Yeah.
And obviously my heart goes out to those people, those innocent people that are killed by those terrorists, but it's not the U.S.'s responsibility to jump in every time that,
Yeah.
some innocent people are killed halfway across the world, right?
Well, and that's what's too bad about the Democrats, because they're like, oh, but think about
Right.
all these people, and it's like, yes, but that's not our responsibility. Like, yeah, we do have the best military, and sure, we provide like, was it like 65% of the food
Something
in the
like
world?
that, yeah.
Crazy number. So they just assume, oh, then we should be able to help everybody.
Yeah.
But then what are they doing?
Right? Nothing. We've
Yeah.
never got help from anyone, it seems like.
No.
Yeah, that's why you never have a woman president. You know why?
Why?
Because they are literally built to have empathy and compassion. Even the Republican women running for president, if you remember Nikki Haley, she was always like, we can do it all. We can help Ukraine, and we can help Israel and Africa, and go in here, and it's so true. You look at places with female leaders, they're always failures because they have so much compassion on people that there's no rationality behind it.
Yeah.
Just let as many people come in the country as you want. Those refugees, they need us, Mason.
Yeah.
They need us. Let's just give all of our money away, raise taxes to choke us to death. Yeah. You need rational leadership. You need logic. That's the thing. Logic is very important. Anyway, now that I asked you that, what do you think? How do you think this war is actually going to end? Because there's a perfect solution, but
oh my, I don't know. To be honest, it's really hard for me to tell, especially with how untranslucent, I don't know, murky you could say Donald Trump has been lately. How he says this is great. Nope, this is like the worst thing ever. Now we're gonna bomb them. Now it's fine. this is a step in the right direction. I don't know, man.
It's crazy.
It's going to be interesting to see how this does keep going, because I was not expecting this 10-point plan and for it to be this bad.
It's the worst
So,
plan I've ever heard.
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I think there's going to be a 2-week ceasefire, and I think they're not going to come to the table about things. And then I think there's going to be more bombing, and I don't know after that, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Iran wants to give up its nuclear program. I think they're going to do anything to keep that. However, if Trump actually goes and destroys their power plants and bridges,
yeah, then what are you going to do?
yeah,
It's going to be really hard to come back from that,
right,
especially with all the damage that they already have.
yeah.
So,
I think Iran is gonna hold their ground though for some reason.
yeah.
I could be wrong on that though. I'll admit if I'm wrong if it turns out a different way, but
Yeah, it's a good opinion. It could happen, but
Yeah.
also at the same time, anything could happen. We don't know.
yeah, those countries are very, not wanting to change their mind about anything.
No, they're stuck on their ways.
Yeah, they've done a certain thing for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Islam, and yeah, I just pray that Trump repents of getting us in this absolutely awful quagmire. I think he has this invincible idea, like, I'm God, I'm going to end all these conflicts.
Right.
He's talking about taking Cuba next.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like, yeah, they were like, so you're going to liberate the people? And he's like, yeah, or we might just take it. He's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's in his first presidency, he was like, look at how many wars I ended, look at all this great stuff.
Yeah.
And then he didn't get the peace prize.
Yeah.
And he's like, you should just give it to me. And now he's like the complete opposite.
Yeah.
He's like, let's get in all these wars, let's just conquer everybody.
So I get the peace prize.
Right.
Yeah. He was very cautious in his first term. I don't think we did that very much military intervention anywhere.
Yeah.
We were still in Afghanistan, but we were really toning it down and slowly pulling out.
Mm-hmm.
And same with, I think we were in Iraq for a little bit. I think Trump ended the Iraq. Did he? Who ended the Iraq war?
I'm not sure.
Just gonna look this up real quick on air because I'm stupid. But no, it started
Obama.
again. It started again. Because there was a different Iraq war. Yeah. War in Iraq started again in 2013. Yeah, Trump ended it on December 9th, 2017. Yeah. See? So he ended that conflict, and that was one of the biggest things ever because that had been such a stupid war in the first place. But anyway, we'll move to the next news item. The Trump administration is moving back federal guidance that treats gender identity as protected under sex discrimination laws in schools, notably under Title X. So Title X is a law passed in 1972, which basically said schools that receive federal funding cannot discriminate based on sex. So obviously a lot of schools have federal funding under the Department of Education, and that applies to women's sports too. They have to give equal opportunities to both men and women, scholarships, facilities, equipment, coaching. It was during that whole era when they had that equality. Everyone was obsessed with equality.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if your school gets federal money, you must treat males and females equally. But somehow that now applies to transgenders. I don't understand how that possibly.
I don't know.
They like to stretch logic. Like Roe v. Wade was a pass because they believed that the Constitution gave us a right to privacy.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but the right to privacy isn't in the Constitution.
Yeah.
So they made that up. They inferred it.
Yeah.
And then right to privacy has nothing to do with abortion. So you see how they stretch this logic.
Yeah.
Very, very, very far.
Well, and this also with transgender and all that stuff, that's, again, they're just stretching it. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It just pushes their way of thinking, how it's all right to be
Right.
transgender and all this stuff. and then now we have to somehow just accept them
Right.
because this title, what is it?
9. I like to call it Title X, but I don't think that's what it's called.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. It's activism laws. Like, they don't apply the law based on what the law says.
yeah.
I've noticed people, this is something liberals do, is they like to make the law try and be more fair, or how they see it fair, instead of actually. But this Title IX law isn't even constitutional anyway.
Yeah.
Because we need to get rid of the Department of Education.
Entirely, yeah.
I think schools should be able to decide what they want to teach, what they want to, who they want to enroll in the school, how they want to run their sports programs. They don't need the federal government involved in that. That's scary to me.
Yeah.
Because then you can get anything dictated top down. So, yeah, abolish the Department of Education. Yeah, because they've been using this law to make sure that transgenders can play in women's sports, which is a travesty. And you saw a tranny on tennis team, didn't you?
Yeah. Yeah, I played against him actually. It was kind of weird.
Yeah, you played against him?
Yeah, it was bad.
Was it a guy becoming a woman or a woman becoming a guy?
Man, I cannot remember, but it was bad.
Yeah.
Because he had the whole accent and all. I think it was probably a guy being a girl.
What kind of accent?
You know, like, oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I missed it again. Oops.
Oh, that's
that
horrible.
kind of junk.
Yeah.
But back to the Title IX, I think that is good to a certain extent because, yes, I think men and women should be treated equally, but they should learn differently because men learn different than women do. And it is good that we're not segregating anymore, but I don't know.
Should the federal government have control of it?
They shouldn't have, no.
I feel like it's a state's issue.
Right.
That the people should decide.
Yeah.
Because sometimes there's a ground for, segregating men and women or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It just depends on the context of where the people are.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I think men and women learn better when they're separate.
Yeah.
It just depends,
Yeah, it depends on everything.
Yeah, there's so many factors. You can't have one rule over everything, right?
Right.
Yeah, but no, the trans and women's sports is crazy. Yeah, they're letting like transgender students be in women's locker rooms based under that law. Is that crazy?
That's insane.
Changing with them, changing with the girls.
Yeah,
that's horrible.
I don't know who thinks that's even right.
I know it's like mind-boggling how stupid these people are. What they need to do is get a group of guys together, go into the locker room, and beat the shit out of whoever is changing with them.
Yeah.
Because that is not acceptable in a Christian society.
No.
And we should put a stop to that immediately. And if the government isn't going to step in, the people need to take justice into their own hands.
Yeah.
That's my opinion on it. But good on Trump rolling back this absolutely ridiculous laws. A rare win for Trump lately, right?
Yeah, but it's a good one.
It is a good one. So let's talk World War III.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm more non-interventionist, and my dad challenges me, saying Iran, Russia, China, those countries are like together, and they could get together and attack us. China's going to invade Taiwan, right, which is a democratic ally of us in the East, and obviously Russia's invaded Ukraine, and Iran has plans, where it's possible that they would invade Israel. So what do we do in an instance like that? I'm curious about your opinion on that.
I guess you just have to hope that, because I think we could probably defend if we weren't all widespread with our military. We didn't have people in the Middle East and all that stuff. I think if we just fortified America, I think we have enough troops to be able to defend ourselves.
Okay, not get worried about all these other conflicts.
Right.
Okay, so we probably have the same opinion on that then. Because our allies, Ukraine, these NATO people, they're not even helping us in this war, what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So why would we come to their rescue when we can defend ourselves? And yeah, everyone says, oh, Owen, you're so naive, but it doesn't make sense to have everything going on everywhere when we don't have to.
Yeah.
And you're exactly right. We have the strongest military. We could fortify our own nation. There's talk that China is going to invade Taiwan next year. And do you think Trump will try and get troops involved?
He's going to.
Yeah.
I guarantee you.
You think ground troops?
Probably.
Oh, man.
Or at the least, just give them, missiles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
A lot of what happened with Israel.
Right.
Just, I don't know, man.
Yeah. Reminds me of containment when we tried to stop communism from spreading. So we were in Korea, in Vietnam, in Afghanistan. We were actually funding the Taliban in the 80s so that they fought off the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh shit, we have another problem, so we're going to go to war again. It's never ending, You can't be in other people's business because there's just so much nuance to the...
And then they have their own personal interests that they're going after.
Right.
So then they're just going to use your extra added power
Yeah.
to their whatever their resume is.
Yeah. Like, we were in Vietnam for 10 years defending them against the South Vietnamese from the North Vietnamese against communism, and the people stopped really caring. They weren't trying as hard as the Americans.
Yeah.
It's like, what are we doing? We're losing tons of good young men. It's costing us billions of dollars.
Yeah.
The economy is a wreck. And I don't agree with the hippies with much, but I agree with the anti-war protests, and I think that was a good thing that there was an anti-war sentiment that developed during that time. Of course, it didn't convince the politicians anything, but we fight 10 years and then we give it all up.
Right.
It's just very, very sad. We gave all Afghanistan 20 years we were there, and Biden just pulls out without even thinking about anything, and we lose everything.
Yeah, lose all the guns, ammunition, all that.
Yeah, night vision. We left a list of people that helped us.
Yeah.
For the Taliban. Yeah, it's absolutely wild. But yeah, Vietnam, I think it's just crazy to me that we don't learn our lessons from these conflicts.
Yeah. We've been in enough of these stupid forever wars and even World War II where you can gain the knowledge. It's all there.
Right.
You just have to study it.
It's all there for people to see. So I had an uncle who was a draft dodger in the Vietnam War. He didn't want to go. And obviously he hasn't come back to the United States since then. It was illegal for a long time. And a lot of my family looks down on him for the fact that he didn't go fight in Vietnam. So what is your opinion on draft dodgers?
I think it makes sense why people would want to do that and not want to go to war. But at the same time, you're fighting for the country that you believe in. You're fighting for their beliefs and their even ability to just survive. Because without troops, without drafts, that's how you lose wars, and that's how. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that I might take a different position, and this is one that's kind of controversial. But why risk your life? You are valuable as a human being. Created in the image of God. Why risk your life for an illegal war like Vietnam that wasn't even declared by the people, just thought up by a couple bureaucrats in a room, and then sent a bunch of our men like cannon fodder to die? And I kind of think the same way about Iran. It's illegal. It wasn't voted on, and I think all of the people that died, it's a tragedy. Even one person that died is more than that should have happened in that war. And so I think that there should be, I think you should reject going to that war. I think people should leave the military. I think it's time to say no and stand up to a tyrannical government. All right, that will conclude our episode for today. Thank you so much, and we'll see you tomorrow.